Okay, guys, Jarrell here. Appreciate all you guys that are with me on the Patreon website, all my patrons. This could be a patron only training session right here. Now, if you're VIP or up, you have access to the Trade Alert Telegram channel. You are hopefully well aware that we've been tracking this uptrend for a couple days now. I actually put out a tweet yesterday that the GBP was looking very bullish, was expecting new highs to be created, and yet and behold, that's exactly what's taking place. Now, before I started this video, I was actually recording already. I was trying to show you guys how I update the pivot points. I had explained how all my indicators work, all my analysis process goes down. Started updating the pivots and realized I wasn't recording, so had to start over midway through the process. That's why you see these three lines up here all the way on top of the price. This candle right here, you seeing right here, had extended itself all the way through the R3 level, which was our top area of resistance. Had my pivot points app not updated the areas of resistance for me, I would be going back, scrolling back on the charts, trying to figure out where the last high was in order to determine where I needed to move my pivot points up to, or what was the next area I should be tracking for a cash out, breakthrough, or rejection. And you can see the pivot points just basically did that automatically for me. As you can see, these areas have been marked off rather than me having to go back and mark those areas myself. So I was in the process of moving the levels up because the pivot points have moved up. I want to start from the top. I started with R3 so my lines wouldn't overlap each other, because if I start at the bottom, lines start getting on top of each other. And to move these, excuse me, I'm actually just going to click on each one. It's kind of hot in here. Click on each one, hit the settings button, and change the price physically. So my pivot area has moved up to 135716. Now I placed the sky blue line up here so it would differentiate itself from all the other ones, not be too confusing. But my next buy entry, which of course I'm waiting for my uptrend to pick back up on the lower time frames and realign itself with the upper time frames. We'll talk about that in just a second. But I placed my next target profit pretty much right below the last ceiling. Next ceiling would be R1. But I want to aim a trade at the top area of resistance here, just so I don't miss out on anything. Even if I just use a low lot size trade to try to get the big target, and then use lower lot size trades. I mean, a little bit of higher lot size trades to target the short term area, so I don't have to risk as much and risk too much money. But like I was saying, the target profit is at 139.35. That's what I'm aiming for on the next buy I enter. And I probably actually use 139.40. So that's 10 pips below the R3 ceiling. Coming on down to support one to move the rest of these pivot points over. We got S1 at 134.908. We got S2 at 133.414. And we got S3 132.60. So all the lines have been moved up. These are our new parameters or landmarks as far as what's holding the price in check and what's keeping it from moving to its next phase or expansion level. So you can see here over the last 3 days, we pretty much had nothing but upward movement. But as you go down the time frames, you can see that there has still been up and down movement. It's not just a one-way street or an elevator all the way up. Looking at the 1 hour time frame here, you can see over the last 24 hours it's mostly upward movement, even though we got some red candles in between here that could have stopped a lot of buy traders out. We also had this period here where it looked like we were taking off, but then we had to retest that support level before we could actually take off. So these runs down, which ranged over 200 pip, over 150 pips here, could have easily stopped you out if you thought the buy trend was about to take off back here, which is why you always want to have landmarks to have an idea of if we are going to continue to push the trend or if we got a detour coming, etc., etc. But this is my chart. I know you guys check out the screenshots and probably see things change here and there as far as what I actually have on the chart. My foundation is always going to be my Ichimoku cloud and my parabolic SAR. So if you learn how those work, parabolic SAR, these dots you see following the price, if they're above, it's confirmation for a sell trend. If they're below, it's confirmation for a buy trend. Now, the way you use any kind of indicator, or really any confirmation in general, anything you're using, whether it's hand-drawn or a scientific indicator that automatically applies itself to the data on the charts, you need to learn how to use Confluence in order to paint the full picture of what's going on. When you only use confirmations off of one time frame to enter a trade, you're really limiting yourself as far as the parameters and knowing the specifics of when to get in and out of the trade. So for instance, here, this is the daily time frame on my left hand side. That's the main reason I always trade with multiple charts up, so I can see multiple time frames at all times. iPad's probably my favorite trading tool. I can keep 4 charts up. I can enter my trades on the left hand side without exiting the view of my charts, and it goes everywhere I go. So I always have a trade terminal with me. Now, parabolic below the price here is one confirmation I should enter a buy on the daily chart. If I come down to the H4, you see it's also below. That's 2 confirmations I should enter the buy. Come down to the H1, that's 3 confirmations I should enter the buy now. Back up to the day 1. We got 3 so far. Our Ichimoku cloud is green, meaning barrier A above barrier B. That's 4 confirmations I should enter the buy now. Come down to the H4. Green. 5 confirmations, H1. 6 confirmations we should enter the buy. Alligator, below the price, pointed up. That's 7 confirmations we should enter the buy. Come back up. And etc., etc. You see the process though? We go time frame by time frame by time frame and stack these confirmations that we should enter a buy or a sell until we have a consensus that is more than likely going to be a good idea. That's how you make high probability profitable trades. Sometimes you can get impatient and you feel like you need to make a trade, or you just really want to make a trade, so you make trades in bad conditions or low confirmations or confirmations that don't really agree with each other when you have what's the word? I forgot. It'll come back to me though. But the alligator is basically a moving average set. And then the pivot points highlight all the significant areas of support and resistance above the price. So I use my indicators to tell me what direction the price is trending. And then I use my floor and my ceiling to let me know when I should get in and out of the trade as far as target profit and stop loss. You can also clearly see we got a bullish engulfing candle pattern. If I were to go far back enough on the daily, not that far back, but Without even having to draw a channel line, you can just clearly see that if I go back up to the last high all the way back there, drag that line all the way down here across these candles, the channel was clearly broken here, and then this would have been the first candle that materialized over it. So this would have been your signal to enter that trade. You just would have had to physically draw on that channel line to get that one confirmation rather than get 10 of them on autopilot. So I mean, to each his own preference, whatever is easier for you, whatever gives you the most confidence to get in that trade and stay in that trade if you have a retracement coming or movement against your position. Because like right now, if the daily is all lined up for buy like it is right now, but I come down and M1, M5 and M15 are all lined up for the sell, it either means we got a mild retracement coming, which could just be a detour for the uptrend, or we could have a reversal coming. So you have to prepare yourself, either cut your losses where you are and wait for a new position on the next peak, or use your stop loss to try to stay in that trade and determine not only how much you can tolerate, but what makes sense as far as where the price should be held in check. Right now, I would assume that the pivot area should hold the price in check, which currently is almost 100 pips away. So that wouldn't be a good short-term stop loss. I would probably be looking at the bottom barriers of these candle wicks where these stopped out. So I'd be looking to place my stop loss at about 136, and that's from the hourly. I definitely come down and look at some candlestick structure on the M15 to see where I wanted to place my stop loss. So right underneath this peak right here where you see all of these candles bouncing off of this support area, if I were to draw a vertical line to highlight this new area support I'm looking at for my stop loss, I would probably place my stop loss at 136.15 for a buy right now, which is about 60 pips from the current price. And if the price was really moving like it was a few minutes ago, I would go even closer than that and look to place my stop loss below this peak and below my parabolic structure peak, which would be about 136.60, about 20 pips from the current price. So now you guys have some insight on how I'm making my decision processes. Nothing is set in stone. You got to get in the game, get experienced in the game, watch the game tape, train your instincts, learn the playbook, learn the audibles, read the defense before the play starts. You should know your whole strategy by the back of your hand. You should be able to analyze at least 7 time frames for 10 to 20 confirmations a piece, compounding upwards to 140 confirmations to make one entry in less than a minute. So hopefully that just gives you an idea where you need to get to make these kind of decisions. But until then, just keep practicing. Keep accessing me for the one-on-one coaching sessions. I love answering questions, and as you can see, I love giving out this information. So utilize me to help you, help me, help you get better. I'm going to delete this because this is not one of my support areas. One of my pivot points. I don't need that right now. And we are basically chilling out. We caught that last wave, so we're at the beach right now waiting for the waves to pick back up. And what you would basically do, it's a few things we could do right here. Like I said, nothing is set in stone. My strategy is always to wait and see. So I'm waiting for the price to create a new high or at least exceed this last peak right here and start to move toward the new R1 level. This is the high for the day. But once we get back to this area, the parabolic shifts back below the price on the M5 and the M1, which is currently above on, but I'm sure it's still below on the 15 because we haven't had that much of a retracement. The price continues to drop on the M15. Eventually, the parabolic will shift above, and that's just another sign that we are about to get a range. possibly even a drop to a support level before it can bounce off that and head back upwards. You guys have any questions at all whatsoever, there should be a area right below this video where you can leave comments, ask questions, shoot me a message through Patreon or on Facebook or on Instagram. Let's talk. I'll get you guys ready for the market. But we're definitely still bullish on GJ. I'm looking to enter a buy sometime this evening. And like I was saying, I could place a buy stop here. I could place a buy stop here. I could place a buy stop here. But I'm just going to wait and monitor my structure to make sure the buy structure stays in place on all the time frames that represents itself on the 5 and the M1 before I make that next buy entry to make some more money tonight. So keep an eye out for that signal, and I will catch you guys on the next video, and hopefully really soon I'll be able to do some live trading sessions for you guys coming up. So I appreciate everybody's patience, appreciate your support, and I'll catch you next time.